Welcome back or welcome if this is your first time joining. I'm Joanna, a health coach specialized in functional medicine, where I explore various areas of health, strongly focusing on the nervous system. And also today we're going to talk about the nervous system dysregulation. And today's video has a form of a little presentation. So I've got some slides to share with you if you're a visual learner like myself. And if this is of interest of you, if you are actively creating health, if you are into lifestyle medicine, functional medicine, health coaching, I definitely invite you to subscribe to this channel so you hold me accountable to create more regular content for you that is useful on your health journey. So welcome. Maybe grab a cup of tea, a little notebook so you can take out of the session as much as possible. And we're going to talk about nervous system dysregulation. And I'm sure that many of you have heard a lot about nervous system regulation versus dysregulation lately. And it's truly a vital conversation because the state of our nervous system profoundly influences every other system in our body. And it impacts us psychologically and behaviorally too. But here's the thing. Sometimes these ideas get a bit oversimplified. It can feel like if you just do a little bit of breath work or meditation or some relaxation, everything will instantly switch over and be perfectly regulated. And while those practices are definitely useful, beneficial, and they have their place in nervous system regulation, the bigger picture is actually much richer and more accurate. True nervous system regulation isn't a simple, immediate fix. It's a fundamental state of balance, reflective of countless influencing factors that build over time. When we consider a more integrated or holistic approach, we start to truly appreciate the deep connection between our biological, psychological, and social worlds. And this perspective gives us much clearer understanding of how prolonged stress impacts us. So when we talk about healing and regulation, we are not looking for a fast solution, but rather focusing on consistently supporting our system across many different levels, building resilience over the long term. And let's be clear, our nervous system sometimes gets a little off kilter and it can be temporarily, hopefully. And we all know how sudden stress feels, stressful meetings, deadlines, sometimes unexpected events, relationship stress, and so on. And our bodies are amazing at healing these short bursts of stress and then usually calming us back down again. But what if that off-kilter feeling becomes your default? For people living with dysautonomia, for example, which is a group of conditions impacting the autonomic functions of a nervous system, this regulation is chronic and can be much more complex to navigate. And also the healing journey will look quite different. And the core of our stress response lies what's called the HPA axis, so hypothalamus, pituitary, and adrenals axis, which is our integrated hormonal alarm system. And historically speaking, this system was a lifesaver, rapidly activating your fight, flight, or freeze with a flood of cortisol or adrenaline only when true danger was present. And the challenge of nervous system dysregulation is when this ancient alarm bell can't seem to switch off, even if you actually are in safe situations. It's like constantly being on high alert, even when there's no visible threat. And we can get stuck there. And those usually calming techniques may not feel sufficient. It's almost like having a foot on a gas pedal all the time and not being able to brake. And it's important to differentiate how we feel from a formal diagnosis. So while we can subjectively recognize when we are dysregulated, most of us can, getting a formal diagnosis for dysregulation or dysautonomia, for instance, involves specialized tests looking at how various automatic bodily functions work, like your heart rate, your blood pressure regulation, your breathing, your digestion. So for broader nervous system dysregulation, there isn't one single test. So instead, your practitioner provides more comprehensive look at person's entire medical history, current symptoms like ongoing fatigue, sleep problems, difficulty managing stress, or some chronic conditions. And that helps to build a picture of what is actually happening. And also looking into your stress hormones, of course, having an understanding of your cortisol patterns, and some other kind of blood testing. They are widely available as well. And what causes nervous system dysregulation? So below are seven of the most common factors, which if persistent or repetitive over time, they can lead to dysregulation. So chronic stress, of course, when stress is constant, the body never fully switches off. And we can actually get stuck in fight or flight or freeze mode, even when physically at rest, for instance, sitting comfortably on the sofa or in your garden. Childhood trauma. So early traumatic experiences can program the nervous system to remain in a state of high alert. And this may manifest as hypervigilance, constantly scanning the environment for threats, even when we are safe. Genetic and epigenetic factors significantly influence your HPA axis regulation as well. Furthermore, epigenetics modifications such as DNA methylation can be shaped by actually chronic stress, leading to long-term changes in the expression of stress-related genes. And over time, these changes can contribute to further system dysregulation. Poor diet, so nutritional deficiencies, huge. Certain chemicals as well in highly processed foods can promote nervous system dysregulation. And interestingly, when we are highly stressed, what we crave first is usually what we shouldn't be eating, like junk food, or maybe more sugar, more carbs, maybe alcohol, maybe coffee. So we actually, crave more of emotional foods or comfort foods rather than supporting our nervous system with the things that it actually needs, like, magnesium rich foods and omega-3 fatty acids and B vitamins, which actually strengthen your nervous system and help to lower your stress. So next time when you're going through a stressful period of time, think about mastering your nutrition, and instead of adding stress into your system, think about foods that are actually going to support your body. Gut microbiome imbalances, so dysbiosis, an improper balance in the gut can chronically burden your HPA axis. So gut health, as we know, is closely linked to the brain via the gut-brain axis. So imbalances here can impact our ability to cope with stress as well. Hormonal imbalances, so in women, for instance, during perimenopause, menopause, when estrogen and progesterone levels drop or they start fluctuating significantly, distinct changes in neurotransmitters happen. And this can lead to feeling a little bit dysregulated or off. We can also notice increased emotional reactivity and greater sensitivity to stress as well. Toxin exposure to environmental toxins, for instance, just as one example, heavy metals like mercury can irritate the nervous system and contribute to its dysregulation. So you are getting an idea that it's much more complicated than just stress, right? There are so many other factors contributing to that. Many factors influence this process, and very often it's not just one of them that is present, but rather a combination of them. What are potential symptoms of nervous system dysregulation? So when we talk about nervous system dysregulation, its impact isn't confined to one area. It ripples through our entire system, affecting us psychologically, emotionally, cognitively, and behaviorally as well. And this is because our autonomic nervous system is essentially the center of control for vital functions like your heart rate, your digestion, your alertness, your breathing, and even your body's ability to repair itself. So when this intricate system is under chronic stress, it presents itself not as a single issue, but as a combination of interconnected symptoms. So let's look at some indicators that your nervous system may be under chronic strain. Reduced stress resilience. So you may notice that situations that often felt manageable now seem quite overwhelming, causing stronger reaction that you would expect. Changes in your mood, so that includes shifts like, increased anxiety, maybe even panic attacks, feeling of low mood, persistent irritability, or general emotional fluctuation that are hard to pinpoint and to understand why it's happening. Chronic fatigue, because your brain and body are constantly expending energy to maintain a state of heightened alertness. Deep, persistent exhaustion often becomes a default setting as well. Weakened immune system. So continuous stress can actually dampen your immune response, meaning you may get sick more often or take much longer to recover. Sleep disturbances, very common. If your nervous system struggles to truly switch off during the day, it often carries that difficulty into night as well, and has like hindering effects on your sleep and prevents you from having very restorative deep sleep. We see it very often with Charmaine when we look into ECG monitors and the readings of recovery and stress during the day versus recovery and stress during the night. Very often the nighttime is going to almost like mirror the stress we had during the day. If there's not enough recovery during the day, our body also going to struggle to have that deep restorative and sleep and experience recovery while we are sleeping. Hormonal imbalances and metabolic shifts as well. So chronic stress has a profound effect on our hormones. For women, this can mean irregular cycles or altered sex hormones levels as well. For everyone, it can influence metabolism for sure, potentially leading to increased fat storage, particularly around your abdomen, even without significant changes in your diet. Sometimes it's even called a cortisol belly. So that kind of fat that you can't really burn even if you eat healthily and you move and exercise. Hypervigilance and overstimulation. So this is where your nervous system is excessively tuned to its surroundings, constantly on the look for threats as well, which is long term, it's very exhausting and it can really overstimulate us as well. And we can start highly react to small things, and that often leads to significant trouble concentrating, for instance. So what is crucial to understand here is that these aren't isolated problems. They are interconnected responses from a system being under prolonged stress. The good news, however, is we often have far more influence over this than we realize. With awareness and the right tools, we can gradually support the nervous system towards balance and creating resilience. But we have to understand what of those kind of symptoms and factors and causes are present for each of us. The foundation of the healing process. So grasping the simple yet very profound distinction between a regulated and dysregulated state is your first powerful step. And this awareness deepens your understanding of your own stress responses. And truly, this awareness is the critical foundation for moving towards regulation. So I give you a few little tips with the next slide. And remember that supporting your HPA axis isn't about finding a miraculous quick fix. Instead, we are looking at the body holistically, nurturing your body through thoughtful lifestyle adjustments and multi-level strategies as well. And of course, addressing the root cause, it's extremely important as well. If there's trauma involved, we should seek therapeutic approach, which will be important part of your healing. If it's linked to a medical condition like dysautonomia, you may need someone who's specialized and seek medical guidance for sure. And there are some general principles as well that can empower us. And here are 10 ways you can actively support your nervous system return to balance. Build a strong support system. That's number one. And this is incredibly important. So surround yourself with a social network, your friends, your families, or supportive communities, people who understand your journey and who are there to support you. You don't have to do this alone. Mastering stress management techniques. So, since unmanaged stress is a major contributor to HPA imbalance, developing effective coping strategies is key in this process. So, exploring different techniques, exploring whatever works on you. It could be mindfulness, it could be yoga, vagal toning, nature, sound therapy. There are so many wonderful techniques and methods to support that, and yeah, help your body to regulate. Prioritize your quality sleep. Think of sleep as your body's daily reset button. So disturbances here can significantly worsen your stress hormones imbalances. So definitely prioritizing that. Finding balance in physical activity. So regular moderate movement is fantastic for regulation. However, understand that more isn't always better, and over exercising, excuse me, can actually increase stress on an already dysregulated system. So gentle practices like yoga, tai chi, walking can be especially very soothing. Nourishing your body with whole foods. So your diet is hugely influential here. Focus on whole, unprocessed foods, rich in healthy fats, fiber, essential nutrients, and that will help reduce the inflammation and supports your hormones and strengthen your nervous system. And of course, everyone is different here. There isn't one diet that fits all of us. It's highly individual, and that's why nutritional therapy is very supportive and very helpful to understand what are your food intolerances, sensitivities, what are your dislikes and your likes, what is your lifestyle as well. Are you a good cook, or would that be a problem? So we have to take lots of factors in consideration when we are helping people to create the best diet. But definitely focusing on those nutrients I mentioned earlier, magnesium, vitamin B, omega-3 fatty acids, they are extremely supportive, specifically for your nervous system. Supplementation is needed sometimes for some people. It's difficult to deliver enough of those nutrients, like even magnesium or B vitamins. It's quite difficult to deliver them only from food. So sometimes we need to prescribe some supplementation as well. But you always want to do it with someone who is experienced, unless you are knowledgeable about that. And exploring different therapies, consider options like, acupuncture, acupressure, massage. This can be wonderfully supportive. Somatic work as well. There's so many wonderful, methods and techniques and therapies available. So exploring what really helps you to regulate yourself and make that difference for your body. And then maybe have some professional care as well if needed. So seeking guidance from qualified specialists. Sometimes it needs to be a medical doctor or practitioner, functional medicine practitioner, Chinese medicine doctor, Ayurveda. So all of that, it's available there. We need to decide what resonates with us and what is the most accurate treatment plan. But it's really good to do a little bit of research and find people that are qualified, they are going to create a safe space for you, and they are going to lead you through this healing process. And then cultivate self-awareness and self-compassion. So start by noticing what are your body's stress signals, and then respond to yourself with kindness and understanding, and then improve and increase your toolbox of how can you navigate those challenges. This journey, always requires patience and consistency. So definitely be patient with yourself. And I mentioned earlier on that there are a few practical tips, and Very simple yet truly powerful starting points. If this is the beginning of this journey for you, they aren't like, complicated things, but they will definitely help you to cultivate this kind of awareness, observing and deeply understanding your own nervous system, which is a really good starting point. And the tool, the most important tool here would be mindfulness. And this really forms the bedrock for everything we have discussed. So begin by noticing regulation. Take a moment to truly explore what does a state of regulation actually look and feel like for you. When do you feel grounded and present and calm and genuinely connected with yourself? What physical sensation, your thoughts, emotions arise during those moments? So gather those kind of information. How your breath changes, your muscles, your even your thinking, your thoughts change as well, where you're in the state of parasympathetic activation. So capturing these moments and observation can be incredibly helpful for recognizing them moving forward as well. And become also aware of activation. How does stress, anxiety, overwhelm, or reactivity show up in your body? And just as importantly, what specific situations or triggers most often lead to the state for you? So the more information we have, the more kind of empowered we are. And more information we have, we're also able to reach for the right tool to address that. And the purpose here isn't to immediately change whatever is happening. It's more about early recognition, recognizing, having the awareness, and then dedicate some kind of observation to also your shutdown and your freeze state as well. Because some of us, we're not going to be in state of fight or flight. We may actually go more into a freeze immobilization as well. So watch for those three states and see what are your triggers and how it feels in your body, what triggers them, sense of disconnection. If you talk about the shutdown, for instance, what immobilizes you, what mobilizes you, what relaxes you. So gather that kind of information moving forward. And if there's a one message I hope you remember from today is this, that simple act of noticing is where all change begins. The more you know about yourself, the more empowered you will be to make changes as well. And that was everything for today. It meant to be a very short presentation, but I think I started getting into more details. So if this is of interest for you again, please let me know in the comments, or if there's any specific topic you would like us to talk about and break down, let me know, and I'm more than happy to prepare something like that. And yeah, I will see you next time. Thank you and all the best on your health journey. Bye.